All right, we're live. Tapping Birdie, U.S. Open, Pinehurst #2. Here with the major man himself, Andy Lack, also known as Creative Around the Greens. Mr. Lack, how are you tonight?
I'm good, man. I would say that I'm anticipating this week more than I have for a really long time. I think I can't remember the last time there's been this much of a take-a-palooza on the golf course, right? This much lack of consensus in terms of how the golf course is going to play. Maybe there's a lot of consensus in terms of who's the most likely winner, but I think there's a lot of uncertainty this week. And I always make the joke with you, you're not very forthcoming in terms of who you like in our group chat. So I'm really excited to listen to you tonight
Yeah.
about what you think about Pinehurst and who you think is going to win.
Yeah, no, the funny thing about that is that, like, you especially these major weeks, you dive in so deep and you prep for literally 2 weeks, and by Sunday night, like, you already know what score every single golfer is going to shoot in the field every single round. And Sunday night for me, I'm like maybe starting to think about the upcoming golf tournament like a little bit. Like, we kind of are on different wavelengths.
Yeah.
So you're always thinking that I'm withholding information, but that's not always the case. That's not always the case. But I understand your concern.
Yeah, you're not researching growth patterns of pine weed in southeastern
Yeah.
climates over the weekend like I am. You're a real human being with a life. So,
Yeah.
where do you want to start? I mean, we could do 20 minutes on Rory and Erica. We could do 20 minutes on my creativity rankings. We could do 20 minutes on putting or
Rom's foot.
chipping. We could do
Rom's
20
foot.
minutes on Rom's foot. We could talk about Scotty Scheffler. I feel like he's kind of
Yeah.
flying under the
He
radar this
honestly
week.
is a
Like,
little bit. He honestly is a little bit. My dad was like, "Who are you picking this week?" And he was like, "My dad asked, are you picking Scotty this week?" I said, "No, he's not going to win." He said, "I'm pretty sure you said that last week." So I'm getting it from all angles, honestly, about the whole Scotty thing. But last week, Memorial, great tournament, highly entertaining Sunday. I think one of the better events on the PGA Tour this year. Kind of an up and down, final round between Colin and Scotty. How locked into you were you for the final round of the Memorial? Because I thought that was a really enjoyable golf tournament.
super locked in. I was rooting for my boys and our one and done pick that I really had to push you guys over the edge
Yes,
on with
thank you.
as it pertains to Morikawa. No, I had a lot of skepticism about Morikawa's ownership in one and done. He was 20% in one and done. So I was kind of giving you and
Hovland
Kyle.
15%, clear
Right.
pivot.
Right. Just for people watching, Brian, Kyle, and I split a one and done entry in the fantasy golf, whatever championships, the
Championships, yeah.
Mayo contest, and we're doing really well.
We're in
Like
a
we have a,
we're in a
yeah,
left fucking place out of 4,400 entries. So
yeah, we're doing really freaking well.
yeah,
And we have a legitimate chance to win.
80K. Not really, but like we could win serious money. Like the top 6 payouts are like over 20K. So that would be absolutely sick.
Right. And so I was rooting for you guys who also had an outright on Morikawa, and for our one and done to be bolstered even further. It's interesting though, and I suppose this will transition us into the good stuff, but I walked away from that week at the Memorial being like, I said this as it pertained to Rory, and I think I feel the same way about Colin because we've actually seen this with Colin on multiple occasions. Like, I just feel like you're betting the Utah Jazz right now against the '90s Bulls, right? And,
It's a good analogy. I like that one.
well, right, and Karl Malone's a top 25 NBA player of all time. Like what Colin Morikawa is doing is incredible. It's just what more evidence do we need to see that he can't beat this guy now, and he's just not as good. Now, what I will say is I thought Scotty left the door open a lot on
He
Sunday.
did. That's why it
He did.
sucks. Like, that's why it sucks having a Colin ticket, because like he was quote unquote beatable. Like, I'm not gonna say he had his D game. Like, he beat the field average by like 4 strokes. Like, played a really good round of golf, but you know, he didn't go out and shoot -2, which would have absolutely completely ended the tournament.
100% agree. But the next question I would ask you as a follow-up to that is, do you feel like Scotty has reached the, like, if you go back and watch some of like great performances of, Karl Malone and the 90s Jazz against Jordan, or even more recently, like a Lamar Jackson against Patrick Mahomes, it seems like when there is a player that is doing the type of things that Scotty is doing, or a team, or a Mahomes, or a Jordan, or whatever may have you, a Tiger, a perfect example of this is the 2019 Masters, that it gets in his competitors' heads a little bit. And Colin's talked about this a lot. Like, they know that he's so much better than them. So even if he gives them an opening, right? Like, he's not Thanos. Like, he's going to make mistakes. He made multiple bogeys at Muirfield Village, missed multiple putts inside 5 feet, made a triple bogey, made another double bogey. It still feels like there is some unquantifiable force that is not allowing another player to stand up to him
Unless you're Stevie Yates.
and just take it, unless
you're fucking Stevie Yates,
unless you're
or Davey
Stevie
Ryan.
Yates, unless you're Stevie Yates or the Louisville Police Department.
I mean,
right?
honestly, I was pretty impressed with Colin on Sunday. Like, I don't think he really faltered much. He literally was one of 4 under par rounds on the course, playing in the final group with the #1 player in the world. Like, I think there's very few people on the PGA Tour right now that could put up that performance in the final group with him. That's actually a good golfer, not like Stefan Jaeger or whatever.
So is that what we're Vic lapping? Like, not embarrassing yourself when you play with Scotty?
For sure. Like 100%. Like, he was in the final group, so that's a Vic lap. You Vic lap when they're on the final group. That's all you can do. You just have to put yourself in position. As RK says, Kyle was the best bet you could have made on the board. It was the best bet, and I made it, and I made the bet. So we're Vicking that. But yeah, I mean, Colin definitely had a chance to get it done, and I really thought he was going to, because again, like, once he's kind of got that swagger going, started walking in putts, like, there's really only a few guys that could beat Scotty, and I think Colin is one of them. But yeah, I mean, Scotty, again, congratulations on winning a tournament after April. Like, we can now talk about you in, a positive light. Like, it's very impressive.
Jury's still out on June.
Yeah. He won in June.
Right. We're in June. You're right. That's true.
So
that's
the next question for Scotty Sheffler is, can he win at a course he hasn't played at a professional level before? Because he has not done that, which, I think that will be a big stepping stone. Last week I came on here. It's June. It's fucking June. After he made the triple bogey, it's fucking June. Like, again, I do think that was actually not a joke. Like, I do think that was big for him. Like, I do think to really be talked about in a super elite level, like, he can't win the Waste Management and like Players every year. Great, they're great events, sure, but you got to do it, in the summer months and everything. And he's got to win another major that's not the Masters, but I know he will.
For sure.
But yeah, I was honestly impressed with Colin, and I think Scheffler's putter. He had a pretty good putting week, but he's still left the door open and missed a ton of putts, and he was human, and was very impressive, and he's gonna be a hard man to beat this week.
Yeah. So I guess, do you want to get right into the board now? Because I was going to ask you, this is going to be a lot of me asking you questions, because this is I've done like 18 podcasts this week. So like, this is really my opportunity to get your take on things. Do you want to, I have a follow-up question as it pertains to Morikawa, Scotty, and the players, but do you want to have any Pinehurst as a golf course conversation before we get into the players?
I listened to you and Kobe, great pod, check it out. I like that Pinehurst this week. It's not like super straightforward, like it will be
Yeah.
at Oakmont next year or something. Like there's a lot of nuance to this course, and I think that the difficulties around the green are very unique, and they're not something you see on any PGA Tour venue or a lot of major venues. I think the length versus accuracy debate here, I think, is very interesting. And I'm genuinely enjoying all of it because I like that out of a golf tournament where it's not, extremely straightforward to handicap. And I think that really shows the genius of this course and Donald Ross and the restoration and everything. So as it stands on Tuesday night, like what are your overall thoughts on Pinehurst and how it will play and, who that kind of favors?
Well, I just want to say that as far as like the differing opinions on the golf course, the only thing that I know with certainty is that everybody is going to have an opportunity to Vic lap, because I
Yeah.
can guarantee you right now, there is going to be a shorter player that plays well. There
Yeah.
is going to be a guy that misses a lot of fairways and bombs it off the tee and gets a lot of luck in terms of his missed fairway penalty that is going to play well. There is going to be also a guy that comes in with bad around the green stats and is a wizard with his putter. There's also going to be a Cam Smith, Hideki, Jordan Spieth, Scotty Sheffler type that is awesome chipping around the green, that is going to play well. There is going to be a guy that you think is creative that is going to play well. There is going to be a crafty European that's going to play well. So there's going to be wherever you stand on this, like you're going to have an opportunity to say that you were right about it. Right.
Sure.
I agree with you. I think if you actually look at the consistency in terms of what has been consistent across US Opens at Pinehurst and what has been consistent across US Opens in general, like people forget that, Torrey Pines may be the most distance bias US Open venue we've seen in the last couple of years. Mackenzie Hughes, Richard Bland, and Russell Henley were like the 36 hole leaders, right? Denny McCarthy finished 7th at Brookline. Okay. Patrick Reed was, almost leading the US Open for a while at Winged Foot before Bryson really took over at that golf course, and Harris English was living in the top 5 at Winged Foot the entire time. Right. So I do think that we are going, and I talked about this a little bit on the podcast that I did with Kobe, but one of the people I talked to on the grounds was like, I think one of the consistencies that we've had with Pinehurst is there's going to be a random that I think is going to be a fun storyline this week. And I have my predictions for who that random is going to be. But I think that it is a US Open venue that maybe favors accuracy a little more than the pure bomb and gouge approach. But I think at this point in the content cycle, you got to start just going with your gut, because so many of these takes have been recycled at this point. And as we stand here on Tuesday night, I know what I'm doing. I'm curious to know what you're doing. But if I get any more takes about this golf course, like I'm just going to explode.
Yeah. I mean, to me, and I've genuinely not a bit, like I've said this for the past couple months, and Wyndham Clark winning the US Open last year, like really solidified that, post 2015, when Jordan won, the US Open winners have been, when you think about them, you think about their driving and their elite driving. And, I think that's easier to say when number one players in the world, like, Brooks and Bryson and Rahm are winning. But when your last 2 US Open winners are Fitzpatrick and Wyndham Clark, who are not number one players in the world, not even top 5 players.
I'd add Woodland in there too.
And
right?
Woodland, exactly.
Yeah.
And Woodland in there. That's where it gets very hard for me to see a Cam Smith, Sahith Theegala, Jordan Spieth, like type winning a US Open in 2024, because I just think the way they're set up and the length of these courses just lends itself to bombers and long hitters and elite drivers so much that I remember even last year at LACC, it's a different U.S. Open. It's a more creative spot. It's firm and like it's it's not winged foot or whatever. And Wyndham Clark wins, and that's the only not the only thing he does well, but like that's what he does
barely
well.
gained on approach that
Yeah,
week.
like gaining 330 off the tee. Like so, that's what I'm really struggling with this week, and that's kind of where I'm at in terms of like a bomber elite driver is probably going to win this tournament. Also, love first time major winners at US Opens. It's been a large trend that first time major winners win the US Open. It's not really more experienced guys. That's really lend itself to more the PGA. But Xander won the PGA being a first time, so maybe it equals out. But yeah, that's really my overall thoughts is there'll be some shorter plotters, but like at the end of the day, it's probably going to be a bomber.
I agree with you. Would you
elite driver bomber, not like
how do you rectify Morikawa into that?
That is kind of where, and I bet Morikawa. Like I think I'm gonna
with or without
Scotty. I mean,
13-1
with Scotty.
With Scotty.
I'm not doing any without Scotty.
So the dual forecast card that you posted was
that's a bit of a hedge.
Oh, okay. So you posted that card too. Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to be unit police here. Like I bet a golfer 4-1. Like
you can hit both. You can hit both.
I'm not like trying to Officer Gillis you. Like I'm just trying
to.
I'm just trying to.
Like
I'm just trying to like accountability buddies. Like it's not I'm not trying to do a.
No, but like I understand it to a certain extent, but from my understanding, if you can hit both bets, you can hit an outright and a dual forecast. It doesn't like take away from your outright ROI.
For sure. Yeah, just.
But regardless, regardless, that is my biggest concern with Colin. But I think when you look at his U.S. Open track record and how he is, top 3 iron player in the world right now and chipping and putting a lot better, that's where, I can like, it's not like, I don't know, he's super elite at and not like being an iron player where, Jordan Spieth, Sid Theegala like isn't.
Agreed.
So that's kind of where I'm at with Colin, and it just like feels like I kind of have to keep going. But yeah, that is a big concern is that obviously he lacks a lot of distance off the tee. But I know you bet Scotty, it's famous. Everyone's talking about it. I actually read in Newsday today that famous tipster Andy Lack was going single bullet. Scotty Sheffler at 4-1. So it's kind of the talk of the town, but it's obviously not something you normally do. I know you bet Scotty a lot last summer, but he was like 8-1, 7-1, so it was a bit different.
I did not bet Scotty a lot last summer. I bet Scotty.
I think you bet him at the Open, and you bet him at the BMW, and you bet him at the BMW Championship,
which was a bad bet.
And you bet him at the BMW Championship.
Did I really?
Yeah, you did.
Yikes! How do you remember that, and I don't?
Because I had Hovland and he beat Scotty. That's how I remember it. But what is your case for Scotty this week, and what made you so inclined to bet a 4-1 golfer?
I'm gonna try and like say something different because I feel like I've written 5,000 words on Scotty this week and said this in 800 different podcasts. But I just think that Pinehurst accentuates his specific skill set better than any other golfer, better than any other course that he is going to play all year. I think that on paper, this is a better golf course for him than Augusta because there is a missed fairway penalty. And I think his ability to not, when you combine distance and accuracy as opposed to Augusta's far more distance and accuracy bias, I think that's another reason why you would like Scotty here even a little bit more than Augusta. Him talking today in the press room about how he prefers golf courses where there's options around the greens. I'm sure, we listen to the same stuff and talk to the same people. Like, I think the built-in advantage that he has with Ted Scott on this golf course
Strokes and caddy huge this week.
It's probably like more important than any other golf course that outside of maybe Augusta. Right. So here's the thing. This isn't going to be a hobby of mine. I'm not starting this isn't going to be something I do very often. It's uncomfortable. I don't like doing it. It's not really fun. You can't really victory lap if you
Yeah.
win, and it's hard enough to win golf outright. So at least if you're gonna get it right, you like to be in a position where you could get some cloud out of it. I think if you're ever going to do it, you do it at this golf course, or you do it at the golf course that you did it at, right?
Yeah.
I think there's going to be generational opportunities to fade him down the stretch. I'm going to probably, regardless of what happens this week, I'm probably going to play 0% of him at the Travelers, not sold at him on Open Championships.
Yeah.
Can't putt at East Lake. We'll see down the stretch, but I think if you're ever going to do it with this guy, like, can I give you a bold take?
Yeah.
I think Scotty wins this week and doesn't win for the rest of the season. What do you think about that? Could you see that?
I don't hate that take. You know, I think BMW, I don't think that's like a great venue for him.
Just all
Southwind isn't really, you know, a great spot for him, and he's not really going to play much else. So yeah, I mean, I think that's honestly a pretty fair take. I mean, East Lake, he definitely could. So I think excluding East Lake, 100% agree with that. My question to you is like, and I'm not of the belief that Scotty's not going to win this week. Like, I'm not going to go there. I'm just not really in the business of doing that. Do you believe with like how difficult the greens are and like the fact that it's US Open and the winning scores, you know, probably going to be in single digits? Like, do you think he has the chance? And I'm sure you do, but do you really believe that he has the chance to separate like he has at Augusta, like he has here with kind of the quote unquote randomness of this event and like how the greens aren't typical to a normal PGA Tour or major event?
More. Because not to get too inside baseball, but the things that make Pinehurst random are missing greens and missing fairways. Like, that's the thing that makes Pinehurst random. And Scotty hits fairways and greens at the highest rate. So, like, for example, the reason why you see randomness at Pinehurst is because there's going to be a guy this week, and your guess is as good as mine, that just like figures out how to hit a hybrid off the greens and is just fucking seven.
And makes a ton of 6-7 footers for par.
Yeah, and it's just nasty. And you're also going to see a guy this week, I guarantee you, we're going to have this conversation in one of our group chats where it's like, oh, Bryson off the planet again. Perfect lie. Sweet. Like, I watched back the Keimer final round. That happened a lot with Keimer. And so like, those are the things that make Pinehurst random, right? But Scotty is the one that takes the randomness out of it, right? Like, what Scotty does best is he's, in my opinion, he's going to win this tournament. He's the most likely player to hit the most fairways and even more likely to hit the most greens. So listen, I'm not sitting here saying, Brian, like, there are a couple people, I don't really know about too much like in the gambling community, but like some of the, you know, like regular media that don't cover this golf tournament from a gambling perspective are like, this is completely over. Like, I don't see any pathway for Scotty to lose. Like, I don't agree with that at all. Like, I was the one that first initially came here and said, like, I think there's going to be something very strange that happens this week. I don't know if that's going to be a strange winner. It may be a strange guy that contends a lot longer than we think. But listen, if you're asking me, like, do I think that Scotty has more than a 25 or 30% chance to win the tournament? I do. Like, I would.
But do you think, like, could you see him winning by 4 or 5? Yeah,
absolutely.
You can.
Absolutely. Okay. I mean, Brian, like,
I would be surprised if
there's
4 or 5.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. I wouldn't be surprised if he won by 4 or 5. I wouldn't be surprised if he also finished like T7.
He's not good at US Opens. It's not his best event.
Kellogg in the chat's gonna like one. Yeah, he finished outside of the playoff at Brookline by a stroke.
Had him.
Very non-competitive T3 at LACC, of course. Had to hole out to even finish top 5.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I think I'm kind of known as someone that, you know, hates Scotty and like tilts.
Me too. Like, I'm not a fan of him. Like,
I really do. Like, I genuinely think he's a good dude. And like, I think his
Sure.
interviews are more like exciting and like, it's just tough. And I know I was like, I'm not even joking. Like what happened at the Players, like was truly like the worst thing to ever happen to me. And like, just, I'm never going to like look at him the same way or, have great feelings about him after what happened at the Players this year. So it just is what it is. I'm excited to see how he plays this week. I personally, and again, it's just my personal belief. Like I think he like can separate more at Augusta than this venue, but I'm sure
Yeah,
he'll be there.
that's a fair take. I don't
Yeah,
like you're saying the golf course that is like made for him might be a
yeah,
marginally better pit than Pinehurst. Like I'm not going to argue
yeah.
with you
Like
that much.
I don't think that he's gonna run away with it.
I
I think
agree.
it will be
I
close because
don't. Yeah,
I just think the randomness around the greens and everything will just even so like I just think that more guys will be in the mix. But again, the last time this was played here, someone won by 8 shots, and it wasn't really that good at golf. So it's tough. It's really tough to
I
say.
agree. I don't. What I will say is I don't think that we are going to see um, anything like what happened with Keimer. And I mean, he just got so many good breaks
And he
watching
made a
that.
ton of 7-footers for par, which I
Right.
think the winner will make a
D-
lot of
Of
this week.
course.
Because
Of
these
course.
guys are used to chipping it to 2 feet a
Of
tapping,
course.
and it's
I
just you can't do that this week.
completely agree. I don't think that we will see anything like that this week. However, I do think this golf course is very conducive to like 2 or 3 guys separating. So, like, kind of what we saw at the Memorial last week for pretty much the entire final round, Hadwin, Morikawa, and Scheffler were 3 strokes clear of everyone else. I think this golf course is very conducive to something like that. And honestly, I actually kind of like that because if you have that, then and you have one of those 3 guys, first of all, you actually have an opportunity to hedge if that's what you're into. Like at Valhalla, I had Hovland and Bryson. There
Same.
was no freaking opportunity to hedge, like really during that tour. I mean, you're right.
There definitely was.
There definitely was, but like, I don't know. I didn't really look at it that way. Like there wasn't that, I guess a little bit,
It
but
kind of did separate at one point. But yeah, I
towards the
understand
end,
what
you're
you're
right.
saying.
Do you get what I'm saying though? Like
Yeah.
think about some of the best major championship. I think some of the best major championships are the ones where 2 or 3 guys separate,
Yeah. I
and
agree.
it's
And I
back
think
and
that's
forth
probably
between
what will
those
be
2.
this week. It's not going to be
Agreed.
like Valhalla with still 2 or 3 guys separated. Anyway, we talked about Scotty enough. Rory McIlroy, I always, like I said it before Valhalla, like I think non-golf course dependent, I think Rory has a better chance to win the US Open than the PGA takeout course fit or anything, just because.
Top 10 in 5 straight US Open. Only got to do that since Jack Nicklaus.
Yeah, like
His best major.
his majors record at the US Open since 2019 is truly unbelievable, and he's trending towards a win. And I think that, if he's going to win another major, it's going to be a US Open. I think that's without a doubt, not even a question. And I do think that, again, him going to Valhalla off a win by whatever 5 strokes going to a course he won at, it's just too much for Rory. And he's basically in the same spot he was last year going into LACC, but he's just playing better golf. And this is a guy who has played great in the Carolinas in this part of the country. And I think Rory is very live this week, just given his playing US Opens, his playing Carolinas, him coming in under the radar. It's not Valhalla anymore. Like I like Rory this week. Like I'm not betting him or anything, but like I think Rory will be in the mix.
Good. It's welcome. I'm playing a lot of Rory and DFS as I always do at every single major. I think there are a lot of things working in Rory's favor this week. I think the fact that there is no emotional connection to Pinehurst, um, compared to like Valhalla, St.
Or the old
Andrews,
course, yeah.
Royal Liverpool. Obviously, don't get me on start on the Masters. All of these courses, like it would be really serendipitous if Rory won at, and a lot of people like think of those courses as the perfect place for Rory to end his major drought. And I think Rory hears some of the noise with some of that stuff. And I like the fact, like, no laying up, I was just listening to their preview pod on the way back from the gym. No block party this week.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's not this expectation that Rory, I've heard this isn't a good golf course for Rory. He's a guy that you want on soft, thick rough. I don't agree with that. I would poke holes in that from a data perspective, that Rory historically has been just as good on some of these firm, fast, sandy soil golf courses like Kiowa and LACC and Congaree. And I think we have reached like a bingo card situation in terms of like the noise around Rory. I had the tweet. I deleted it.
Why did you delete it? I saw you deleted it.
Yeah, my tweet was, Rory has changed his relationship status in 2 of the 3 major championships this week. Masters, PGA Championship, divorced, US Open, married again, Royal Troon, it's complicated, ? Which I thought was pretty funny.
Figuring out my dating goals.
Yeah, I figuring out my dating goals. Like, I wanted to, if I was good enough at Photoshop, I would do a Hinge.
Yeah.
But I deleted it because last time when I just simply tweeted a picture of Rory's results after he broke up with Caroline Wozniacki, I had people say like, oh, it's such a broy tweet. Like, you're making fun of divorce. Not interested. I'm not interested in that like subsective. I'm not trying to get like, I'm the biggest Rory fan like you'll ever meet. Like, I'm not interested in getting involved in that subsect of Twitter. Like, I love Erica. I wish them all the best. Like, this is incredible for Poppy. Like, as a child of divorce, like, this is phenomenal. I'm happy for you. Like, my parents went through a horrible divorce. I get it. Like, shout out Poppy. This is like a good day. No beef.
Yeah.
Like,
it's weird. I mean, it's fucking weird, right?
Just objectively, like, again, as somebody that like has seen a lot of divorce in my life, like to get publicly divorced as a public figure, like the week of the PGA Championship, and then say it's back on the week of a US Open 3 weeks later. Like, it's just, I didn't have that on my bingo card.
It's very weird. It's very odd.
You don't see it very often. Now, with that being said, we can make all of the jokes that we want about it. But the one argument that I'm not here for is people seriously being like, now I'm in on Rory, now I'm out on Rory, too much noise. Because we have, at this point in Rory's career, I just want to remind everyone, like, we have the full bingo on like all of the noise that could ever possibly be going on with Rory. Like, he's played well when we think he's having an affair with the lead CBS analyst. He's played well after breaking off his engagement with a tennis star. He's played well when he was the shadow commissioner of the PGA Tour and trying to solve golf. He played well the week after he had a divorce. He played well the week after he met Erica. He played well when him and Erica got in a fight one time. Like, everything has happened. Yeah. Okay. There's no, you don't know. So it doesn't, this coming out, it's freaking weird, but it doesn't change my opinion on what Rory's going to do on the golf course. Does it for you?
No, not really. I just think Rory at US Opens is kind of a plug and play at this point, and I like that he's under the radar. And I do think that he's playing better than he was last year when he almost won LACC. So I'm excited to see how Rory.
So are you going to play any DFS lineups? Like, are you going to?
Yeah, I'll deposit. I'll deposit. I gotta, still see what ownership's doing and everything.
Yeah. What contest? We'll talk later. But
I bet Colin. I talked about him a bit before. I just think that a lot of times in majors they kind of reward people that have been playing unbelievable, but haven't not necessarily gotten the wins. Again, it's the same thing that happened to Xander. Lost an elevated event the week before, and then goes to a good course fit and goes out and wins. The ball striking right now is really, really good. The iron play is really, really good right now. The putting's great. Chipping, it is what it is. But again, I think it's, a bit more neutralized here. Like, I don't think he's just going to shoot himself out of the tournament. I don't love that he's a bomber and he's not a lead off the tee, but I'm willing to take the chance. I don't think the number's great, but it's just kind of like I have to ride it. And after last week, I just kind of feel like I'm kind of indebted to it a little bit. So I'm fine with Rory. I think 16, 17, it is what it is. but it's just kind of a one more week type of thing for me. I have serious FOMO on Viktor Hovland.
Do you?
Yes,
Because
I
we've
really
been
do.
getting some. I was talking to our mutual friend who was at the course saying some pretty concerning things about
Yeah.
Victor's tinkering once again in a major championship, which sounds eerily similar to what I saw the week of Augusta.
Yeah, I mean, one, I think that they, our friends said he didn't really look great at Valhalla. Like he almost won. You look at the ball striking the last two tournaments. I mean, it's really unbelievable what he's doing at Valhalla and the PGA. Gained over 10 strokes ball striking at the PGA. Gained almost 9 ball striking at Memorial. Couldn't chip, couldn't putt. I like Hovland because he fits the trend of first-time major winner that's lead off the tee. And I think that just makes a lot of sense for me. And I think that once this wasn't a normal thick rough US Open, people kind of crossed off Victor. But I don't know. He really, in my opinion, is one of the best putters and ball strikers on the PGA Tour. Like you kind of combine them both. Like he has the ability to gain 6-7 on approach and also have an amazing putting week. And I know it's, anecdotal and trends or whatever, but like I said, US Opens, for whatever reason, have produced a lot of first-time major winners that are lead off the tee. And I think Hovland's due for a major. He's going to win a major. I don't think that he's just going to win an Open. Like Opens are fucking random as shit. And I'm not going to say that, Troon or whatever is just some perfect venue for him because the Open Championship has produced a lot of random winners. So I didn't bet him. If I had to cross off one guy, I might, cash out Brooks or something and bet Hovland. But I mean, what are your thoughts on Hovland this week?
Just kind of a can't play them all situation. I think this place is going to break his brain a little bit. Like I remember I used to say this on, I think he plays well at I think I want him at Valhalla, Oak Hill, Olympia Fields, Bay Hill. I like him on turn your brain off execution tests. I think part of the reason why people don't like Bryson this week, maybe, or don't like Bryson at Augusta is because they think that, that place is going to short circuit him, right? When you give somebody that many options and that much nuance and that much thinking, of course, is also laughably subjective, by the way, but there is a pretty strong precedent of Hovland playing better on these thick, rough execution tests. I'm going to pass at Pinehurst. I can't play them all. I prefer obviously I bet Scotty, so none of these guys are outrights for me. So I'm kind of talking about this through the lens of who I like in DFS. The guys at the top that I'm playing in DFS are Rory, Scotty, and Brooks, and I'm fading everyone all the way down to Fleetwood.
Yeah, I like Brooks this week. I bet him. I don't like that he's kind of
with or without Scotty.
I didn't bet anybody without Scotty. I just bet them all regular. I'm not doing.
Okay, what'd you get on Brooks? 28 on Bookmaker.
Yeah, I did, and
it's a really
BGO
good number.
Boosted him. This smells fishy. I don't know why Brooks is not getting any action this week. My biggest thing, and again, this isn't I do think this is a good golf course for him. He's done it on firm and fast, super difficult tests, obviously. But my thing about Brooks, and again, this means nothing, is he going to win 6 majors?
I'm so with you on that.
Is Brooks Koepka actually going to
Not
have
yet.
6 major championships? I'd say, gun to my head, no. I would say no. I don't think that
Not
he
yet.
wins 6 major championships. That's just such a ridiculous thing. And tying Phil Mickelson, who's one of the most prolific golfers of this century, and having 6 since 2017, it's crazy to think about. Now, people didn't think he was going to get to 5. People didn't think he was going to get to 4. I'm having a little bit of cold feet on Brooks.
Yeah. So I broke out my trusty pyramid just so we could get subjective. It's an underrated storyline that every single time Brooks Koepka tees it up at majors, he has the possibility to now go down as one of the 12 to 15 best golfers that has ever played. Like Brooks Koepka puts together 4 good rounds of golf and wins at Pinehurst. He is in the class of Nick Faldo, Seve Ballesteros, Byron Nelson, Phil Mickelson, Tom Watson, Gene Saracen, Arnold
Tom
Palmer.
Watson is 6.
Tom Watson is 8. I'm just talking about the
okay.
class he would enter. You know, Palmer, Hagen, Snead, Player, Hogan, Nicholas Woods. Those are the 13 guys that have won 6 or more majors. He's 33 or 34. He's going to probably get to 6 before he ends his career, but I don't know if it's going to be yet. What I will say about this is I find it hard to believe that Brooks won't be highly relevant in one major championship per year going forward. Like, I don't think he's going to be a guy that's going to just win a major every year for the next 5 years, but I would be really shocked if he isn't highly relevant and in at least one major a year going forward. And I think this major is by far the best possibility of that.
Yeah,
for
I
all
agree.
the reasons that you mentioned, such a cerebral golf course, like Shinnecock, the Cock 2018 comp, like Valhalla 21 under. No,
never
thanks.
winning
Like,
Valhalla. Was never winning Valhalla. It's tough to contend at the Masters 2 years in a row. So like, I'll give him a pass on those two, but I just his major form since winning the PGA has not been great by any means. But I do think this is the spot to deploy him, and it's a good number. So I'm willing to take it. I bet Bryson went into the week not thinking I'm going to bet Bryson 24-1 for me. I think just the way he's playing in majors right now, throw out Live Bangkok.
This is a huge shock to me.
Like, at the end of the day, it's a freaking U.S. Open, and there are fucking like 4 500-yard par 4s this week. And I just, for whatever reason, I want to have an absolute bomber on the court in case it turns out that way. And people said he couldn't do it at the Masters. Like, he did it at the Masters. Valhalla, obviously, great spot. We had him like totally Vic Lap that one. Like, he shows up then. This is arguably, I'm not saying it's the best course fit, but like, this is the most distance biased event. And, you know, he's a good putter. I trust him over 6-footers. He can, you know, fucking chip, you know, around the green. He could putt around the green. I just think that he's due for another major. I don't want to wait till Oakmont next year. You look at his results in majors this year, 24-1 on a long golf course. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck he's playing with Walmart clubs. I don't give a fuck he's playing with Persimmons. I don't care. 24-1 on Bryson. Like, I'm in.
I love it. I'm so surprised. Like, Brian and I are in a group chat that exchanges hundreds of messages a day, and I'm first hearing about this.
I mean, I told you, but whatever.
Did you actually?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I mean, 8 of 9 wins. 8 of 9 wins on Bentgrass. Okay. Just to throw a little counter argument there with you, I wouldn't be doing my job if I just didn't mention that he's like complete ass on Bermuda. Won the API only Bermuda victory when he gained like 8 billion strokes off the tee. Wasn't even champion Bermuda. Thick rough around the greens. No, I love the golf course. I love Bryson. He's gonna do, you know, I had a friend follow him up close the other day, and he looked great. He looked amazing for, you know, she was telling me he was the one that said, you know, I think this US Open is going to be really random. So if you want to interpret that positively or negatively, whatever may have you, but yeah, at the end of the day, like, just a can't bet them all situation for me. But, I'm so happy for you. I think you've built a card. Seriously, I think you've built a card of probably like the 3 highest draft picks that I would have outside of Rory that have the cojones to take down.
Yeah, and like, I'm not gonna fucking bet like Sepp Straka and fucking.
Totally agree. By the way, the last thing, the first, just to put a bow on all of this talk about the favorites, because I know we got to get to the longer odds guys. I really hate. I don't know if we talked about this. I really hate the Scotty pairing for Rory. I actually really don't like that. Like, I may disagree with you that other players don't believe that Scotty is better than him right now. And I just don't think Rory needs that smoke in round 1 and round 2. I think that's
I
like
agree.
it's a quick way to demoralize you.
Yeah, no, I agree there. All right. Who do you like rank because I think the 3 popular picks rank in terms of how you like them. Cam Smith, Tommy Fleetwood, Decky, and I'll throw Big T in there.
Fleetwood, big gap. Fleetwood could win. Tony, Decky, Grand Canyon size gap.
Yeah.
I think Cam Smith has DFL potential.
That's bold. I do agree. I said this months ago. This
Shot
is
at
not
80
a
at
new
Liv
take.
Houston. It's a harder golf course.
Like I said this months ago. I don't think Cam Smith is a good enough driver of the ball to win a U.S. Open.
No, a great take.
Like
Completely agree.
I said this. Like I don't care anything. Like he get PGA, Masters, whatever. I just think the way the USGA is trending, I just don't think it's happening for him. I really like Big Tone this week. Played well at the cock. Ball striking's been really good. His game is trending. He's doing things. Really good ball striking at Colonial. Played well at the PGA. Backed it up at the Memorial. Like I like Finau. Like Finau first round leader. I could see Finau coming out to a first round lead this week. Like I think that's highly, highly plausible. And yeah, I'm with you on Fleetwood. I'm not with you on Fleetwood. I don't think that. I don't know. I just don't think he's playing good enough golf, and I don't think that Fleetwood's a guy you can say, this is a perfect course fit for him. It's a big event. Like he's going to show up and do it. I just think he has he's just not going to top 5 every single U.S. Open. So I'm more out on Fleetwood than you.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I just think it's a really good golf course for him. And I will say this, I think that he will win. No, I don't mean that. I think that he will be highly relevant at one of the next 2 majors. Like if not this week, then true.
Okay. I'm fine with you there. What are your thoughts on Ben On this week? I like Ben On. I think that, again, not that he's going to win, but I think, again, a lead off the tee, first-time major winner, having a pretty solid season, getting a lot of action on certain books and everything. And I really do like Ben On. I think that he is probably a pretty solid top 20, top 10 play. I know you're high on him, like talent-wise. I don't know what his DFS ownership is looking like, but I think Ben On's probably going to play well this week.
Is he catching steam at like Bookmaker or something?
He was like one of the only people to get nuked on Bookmaker.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, 49th at Kiowa, 62nd at Congaree, 15 US Opens, 50% made cut percentage, 67th at the Cock, miscut at Erin Hills, miscut at
67th at the Cock is tough.
67th at the Cock is tough. Kind of got blown out to sea on Saturday. No, I think that he has the US Open esque skill set. I'm seeing why my numbers aren't. I was heavy on him last week. My numbers personally are killing him for him never playing well on like long golf courses with sandy soil and being absolute ass at putting.
Okay.
But other than that,
probably
yeah. Well, I love Benny On. So it's like when you brought him up, I was like, wait, why haven't I spent a lot of time on him? Like I love Benny On. He must have like been ass at something that made me not look at him that heavily. And that would be my reasoning, but no beef. Like I need to like fill out, my pool with some guys at the bottom. So
yeah,
maybe I'll consider him now.
Of kind of more like plotter type, good putter type. Are you playing any Russ, Connors, TK? Even I'll throw Straka in that category. I know Straka's ownership, whatever. It's not great,
yeah.
But are you playing any Russ or Connors this week or any? I like Tom Kim. I think Tom Kim could
Yeah. I'm going to not do that in DraftKings because leverage, but
is Tom Kim popular?
Yeah. I think that there are a lot of guys, the way that people are building not to make this a DFS pod, but the way that people are building predominantly in DFS is so much Sheffler and Colin, which leaves you kind of swimming in that low 7K range. So, Minwoo Lee, Corey Connors, Tom Kim, even Sam Burns, Sepp Straka, Russell Henley, all those guys are going to get.
I like Harman.
I like Harman too. I think I will have a top 10 on Russell Henley because my numbers are freaking in love with him this week. And we talked early, and I'm curious about your take on this too. The random guy that is going to be relevant in this US Open. Do you know has a somewhat similar skill profile to Eric Compton in terms of the things that he was doing leading into that US Open, that it's this, he was this kind of guy. In my opinion, this will be this version of Eric Compton.
Aaron Rye.
Yeah. How'd you know?
I remember you saying you liked Aaron Rye. And
I think Aaron Rye is my best bet to be weirdly relevant in this golf tournament. Who would be your Eric Compton?
It's not the same. I like Dean. I don't know why he's only 5%.
I love Dean.
That doesn't really make sense to me. I like Hadwin. I don't know. Hadwin 62. I know he's playing well. Probably Hubbard for sure. Hubbard 6K flat ESL. Elite iron play. Fox also 6,500. Those are kind of my Cam Davis. If Cam Davis is 2%, I like Cam Davis. I bet Cam Davis 350 to 1. Cam Davis would be my Eric Compton of the week.
So is that the card? Is it Cam Davis, Bryson, Colin Brooks?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. So okay, so as we wrap up here, what are you most looking for this week? What are you most interested to watch this week? What
genuinely will Scotty win?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that is the storyline is Scotty going to blow away this field?
Yeah. And if Scotty does win, does that make you look at things differently for him going forward? You
said he's not going to win again.
Yeah. I don't think so. I think he's going to win this week and then not win for the rest.
No, I'm down for that take. If Scotty wins this week, if I don't have a guy in the mix, it'll be whatever. If I have a guy in the mix, that's why, I think there's actually value in the dual forecast market because all these people are betting that without Scotty market with certain golfers. It's I genuinely, and again, I know that, there's other outcomes at play, but if you really think Scotty's going to beat your golfer, why wouldn't you just dual forecast it or straight forecast it? So if the most heartbreaking outcome happens, you're hitting 100 to 1 ticket. That's
Agree
what
with you.
I don't if people are really that scared of Scotty, then just literally straight forecast all your bets and
agree with you.
Or dual forecast them. And if, Scotty doesn't win or, whatever happens, then you don't really have much to complain about. So that's why I like to dual forecast. And that's why I bet all of the guys I bet on dual forecasts with Scotty. And I genuinely do think it could be a Scotty Bryson duel on Sunday. I think that is my most likely outcome.
Who do you like of the three bets the best? Bryson, Colin, or Brooks?
I weirdly, even though I didn't think I was going to bet him going to the week, I think it's Bryson.
Yeah, you're going to say Bryson
just because Colin's length off the tee concerns me, and Brooks being 28 to 1 and 30 to 1 concerns me. And he's not going to win 6 majors.
Two guys we didn't mention real quick. Just really out on Xander and Ludwig this week.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think either of them
hard to go back to back. Yeah.
Yeah. Xander's
Ludwig,
definitely not winning.
No.
And his ball striking wasn't great last week. He just putted really well. Basically didn't even win a major. Ludwig could fuck. I think that, like I said many times in the spot, first time major winner, elite driver. I think Ludwig's, first major will be a US Open. I really do think that's in his cards. And I would be surprised if he doesn't have a major in the next 2 or so years, but I'm a little bit concerned about the injury right now. But yeah, I mean, I am not rushing to place anything with Xander this week.
Okay, final question for you. Winning score?
I'll go -7.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Like
exactly
I
what I
don't
was going to
think
say. I was
I
going to
don't
say -7.
I don't think it's gonna be like I think someone's gonna start. Like I don't think it's gonna be that hard.
First round later, 4 or 5, right?
It's got to be 4 or 5.
I
I
think
think
one guy
anything
shoots.
else,
I
if
think
there's
one guy.
anything else, like that would be a serious cause for concern.
Yeah, I think
What
one
was
guy shoots
LACC
5.
par wise?
70, but keep in
Really?
mind, yeah, LACC was 70, but 2 guys shot 8 under par
That's
on
crazy with
on
only 2
Thursday.
par fives.
Yeah, and typically the way the course of a tournament goes is Thursday will be decent, Friday gets a little bit harder, Saturday gets easier because they move up some tees for moving days, and then Sunday gets hard again.
Yeah.
So that would be my, if we're
Yeah, I mean,
ranking the
last year, like the winning score was -10 and the first round leader was -8. Like I could see that happening.
exactly.
Again, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if someone got after it. I don't know. I just think the USGA has gone woke to a certain respect ever since the cock, and they're not going to go
For
back to
sure.
the cock. They're
For
just
sure.
not going to do that again. It's just not going to happen.
For
Like
sure.
we're gonna, and I don't know. I just think everyone's saying it's super difficult and everything. Like I just could see -7, -8.
No,
for whatever reason.
election year kind of purple state. I'm with you
It's
there on the setup.
They have certain political aspects to think about this week. Like it's kind of like a ripple effect. Like this judge with Trump, like what he does seriously impacts like the country, and I think the USGA is kind of in the same.
They're in the bag. I know. It's tough. The separation of church and state on sports and politics. We can just never get that balance right.
What are your thoughts on Brando lead commentator?
I like it. I'm a big Brandel fan outside of, I think that his
Rollback
takes on rollback and golf course architecture are like wildly ill-conceived and irresponsible. And I have
rollback
many conversations with my friend Joseph about this all the time. But yeah, I'm pumped. What's your plan for the weekend? I was going to ask you.
Dude,
I was going to get out on is like asking you about your golf game and your golf plans this summer and when.
Yeah, playing. I mean, I'm really excited for you to see my game this summer. Like I've really taken some serious
LP.
trips.
Hopefully we play before LP.
We'll play before LP.
Yeah.
But yeah, I unfortunately Sunday is Father's Day. We're going to a Met game at 1:00.
Seriously?
Whatever. Yeah.
Are you gonna watch on your phone?
Yeah. And then Saturday I'm also going to a Met game, but it's completely related. Have to go. Whatever. It's an obligation, so it's not great. And I work Thursday, Friday, so it's a bit tough. It's not like I could just sit in my box and watch the U.S. Open all day, really at any point. But hopefully we just don't have a guy in the mix and won't have to worry about it. But pleasure having you on, Mr. Lack. The content this week has been great. Everyone sub to RPS. Looking forward to your Core 4 article.
Thanks, buddy.
Tomorrow we're gonna try to get some guesses on it tonight. I'm definitely curious as.
Do you want to guess who it is?
Yeah,
I already know who it is.
I mean, it's got to be Scotty.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's Fleetwood because he's pretty high owned, but you've kind of been a chalk donkey lately. Definitely Aaron Rye. Yes.
I just realized when I asked you the question, I should, but you're on the right path. You're swimming in the right pools.
We'll leave the other two behind the paywall, but appreciate everyone who checked out the pod tonight. Travie week next week, home game, boots on G.
Are you actually going?
Yeah, I'm going Saturday and Sunday. Got golf planned.
Sick. Who are you going with?
Adam Jers and Jers' friend.
Cool. I'll just go fuck myself. Like,
yeah, I mean, you live in LA, but
I mean, like, I'm literally going to be in New York. No, it's fine. Like, I made plans on playing the Creek.
It's no big. It's like Locust Valley. Like, ever fucking heard of it?
There's no beef. Like, I'm playing the Creek, and then I don't know if I mentioned, but I'm going to play another golf course in Long Island the weekend after. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
It's truly like not even a big deal.
That's sick though. Travelers is going to be sick. I'm happy for you.
Scotty's not going to win.
No chance. No chance.
But yeah, we'll see everyone next week. Hope everyone has a great night, and good luck on all your picks this week.